What's up, y'all? Welcome to Political Fight Club. I'm Robert Durden, and we're doing our monthly power rankings today. Now, I typically do this about once a month. I think it's been about 6 weeks since I did it last, and usually I have the same top 2 or 3, but there's been quite a bit of a shakeup on the left lately, and for me in particular, I think a lot of people would agree that my number 1 seed of Kyle Kalinske in my last power rankings is no longer valid. So I think we're going to have to go over my new top 5. I'll go from the bottom up. And there's also been some rising stars and people who have done really awesome work lately who I'm ranking much higher than before. And then there's a couple of people that I really just didn't know much about the last time I did the power rankings, and then you guys recommended them to me, and now I'm going to be ranking them. So let's do top 5, and then I'll do an honorable mention working our way up, and I'll do a little commentary along the way. Number 5. Previously, number 1 is Kyle Kalinske, and quite frankly, I could have listed him even lower. He's kind of in limbo with the left right now. Really, on the TYT Jimmy Dore thing, he needs to come out militantly against TYT, and the left is eating him alive for playing the indifferent card and acting like he wants to be holier than thou or, up on his high horse and above the fray when he really needs to be on the right side morally. And nobody's giving him a pass on the Aaron Mate slander thing that TYT did, and the basically the weaponization of Me Too that Anna Kasparian is attempting against Jimmy Dore. He's come out more or less like indifferently on those two things, and the left is not letting him get away with it, which is awesome. So number 5 and falling. But like I said, that's why I do the power rankings, is because people go on hot streaks, people go cold. I see a lot of these things or try to commentate on them as kind of like March Madness type thing. And number 4, somebody I have never ranked before because I didn't really watch them that much, and then you guys recommended them, is Lee Camp. Super funny. He's on 2 shows, or he has 2 shows, Redacted Tonight and Moment of Clarity, I think is the other one. And he's like me, where he's a comedian a little bit, where like he jokes along the way, and it's nuanced, and he's done really great work recently. I mean, just covering everything that basically I think is important, like, Cuba and Haiti, and obviously numerous other things that are going on domestically as well. So he's a jack of all trades. His commentary is really insightful and funny, so I highly recommend looking into Lee Camp, Moment of Clarity, and Redacted Tonight. I've been really enjoying those lately, especially. So, and thank you guys for turning me on to Lee. Number 3 is Jackson Hinkle in the Dive. He was I think I recently had him at like 10th. But he's rising quickly because, again, like Lee, he's covered all the important things recently, in my opinion. The OPCW cover-up, Haiti, Cuba, all that stuff. So his foreign policy is second to none. He does good domestic work as well. He streams every day, basically. And then, of course, the big thing is that he destroyed Vosh in this OPCW cover-up debate. That I covered on my show, but Jackson also, he made subsequent episodes breaking it down and basically annihilated Vosh. And that's awesome for the sake of it, but also he has like less than 1/10 the subs that Vosh does, so he got a huge boost, and that's Fight Club, man. He followed the rules of Fight Club, destroyed Vosh, and his numbers went through the roof, and those videos went like viral, and now Vosh's credibility is like being seen all as faulty by the entirety of the internet because he was trending like 15th for screaming and running off of that debate with Jackson. So again, that's exactly right. You broke the algorithm, Jackson. You got a ton of subs because of it, and you annihilated Vosh on a big stage along the way. That's excellent. That's why you're ranked number 3. Good job, Jackson. Number 2 is going to be The Gray Zone. And I think that, if you guys don't know, they're the guys that are doing the work with the OPCW cover-up, amongst other things. That's like Max Blumenthal and Aaron Mate, and Ben Norton works for them as well, or they work together. And I think they've figured out what I've known since the inception of this show and have been trying to preach, is that if you have a good personality and can kind of like joke your way through actual content and make fun of people along the way, people will like that. And Aaron Mate and Max Blumenthal have been doing that a lot lately, and they are so naturally good at it. Whenever they're either on their own show, but particularly when they're brought onto Jimmy Dore's show, they always like crack jokes along the way that are hilarious, whilst also completely like informing you on, like, for instance, Syria, which is what Aaron Mate does, or Russiagate, or amongst other things. Like the things I was learning about Cuba and Operation Mongoose from Max Blumenthal the other day, while he was also cracking jokes left and right, was, oh, it was wonderful entertainment and great information. So the Gray Zone is doing excellent work. All of them individually also are doing great work. And I think I'm going to be reading, buying somewhere along the way, Max Blumenthal's book Goliath, because I've been recommended that multiple times for the show. So I'm going to look that up as well once I get done with Matt Taibbi's book. Number 2, The Gray Zone. Excellent job, guys. Max Blumenthal, great job. Aaron Mate, even better job. And then lastly here, you guys know who it's going to be. The king, Jimmy Dore. He's right now the king of independent media and leftist media, and it's not close. His numbers are off the charts. He's really cut down on any ad hominem that he used to do, and he's been on point. If there's any knock I have against Jimmy right now, it's that he focuses a little too much on the beef with TYT. But the thing is, it's still a substantive beef, and I think it's important that we draw the line in the sand that you can't smear journalists, and the left is not going to put up with the way that TYT has been operating lately. We're not going to put up with it, and Jimmy is helping us self-correct. So I can't really knock him too much because he's really just defending good journalists, and he's doing good content along the way, getting good information out there. And even lately, he's been putting out a ton of content, and I think he's even going on a live tour, which I imagine will be very popular. So good luck with that, Jimmy. He's the undisputed number 1 overall seed right now, and I don't see Kyle ever taking that back from him. I'm not sure it can be. It's been too lame for Kyle lately. So I'd like to make one honorable mention and then do a little bit more commentary. I'd like to rank the Vanguard number 6. I originally was going to put them in the top 5, but I removed them because they did take a little bit of flack recently because they had Ryan Grimm on their show, and they had Jimmy in the live chat, and Jimmy is blocked by Ryan Grimm on Twitter, so the only way Jimmy has access at asking questions to someone like Grimm is through a super chat on the Vanguard show. So he asked a very good question towards the end that he wanted Grimm to answer, which is, why are you weighing in on Twitter on the OPCW cover-up when you so clearly have not read any of Aaron Mate's work and are running with, like, Luke Harding, not Luke Harding, but, like, the bogus CIA narrative that it was exactly the way that the government says, and, like, you really have not done your research on this? And that's a good question. That's an excellent question. And it came up, and Gavin read it, and he goes, this is kind of a segue into what I really wanted to ask you about, which is, why do you get into so many Twitter beefs when you get beaten in a lot of them so often? And it's like, I kind of sighed audibly when I heard that question as well, because I did also want them to ask Jimmy's question, not the question they asked. I don't care what Ryan's intentions are and why he keeps going out there and being a human punching bag. I don't care what's going through his head. What I do care about is why he cares to go out and have a say in something when he hasn't actually done his own research on it. And so I was a little bit frustrated with the Vanguard there too. I still think they do great content, and they are not in any way like corrupt the way that TYT is or anything like that. A lot of the flack they're getting is because they just didn't ask the right question, and anybody can flub a question. I think they have a soft spot for Ryan Grimm that they should not have, and my advice to them in the future is, in the future, just read the fucking question. Read the super chat question. If it's a good question, it's not like, you know, something super inflammatory, especially if Jimmy's asking it. Just ask the goddamn question. What's the problem? And here's the thing, guys. I also gave Ryan Grimm some credit when he took care of Emily Jashinsky, right? I gave him massive credit. But since he came out on the side of all the imperialists on the Syria narrative and is basically weighing in on something he knows nothing about, I immediately came out with a diss track against Ryan 2 days later. Like, and he's RIP now. And you guys have to be willing to, as the Vanguard, go after people that you may not feel comfortable insulting to their face. And if you can't do that, then don't have those people on your show. But what I would do is just take them on there, ask them the serious questions. You don't have to insult them personally, but that was a good question. And I know, guys, to be fair, the reason the Vanguard did not ask this question, I think, is because they themselves have not really covered the OPCW cover-up enough to adequately back up any follow-up questions. So if Ryan Grimm went on a snooze fest 5-minute tirade trying to use the same talking points that Patrick Hillsman did. The Vanguard doesn't know enough about this the way that Jackson Hinkle does, or that I do, or that Jimmy does, to push back. And that's been a hole of theirs for the last couple of weeks. So constructive criticism, guys. It was the wrong question to ask, and I know you guys are critical of Ryan Grimm all the time, so I'm not, I'm not up in arms about it. But next time, just ask the fucking question. Jimmy sends you a super chat, ask the fucking question. It's that easy. Come on. So, constructive criticism, again, they're still one of my favorite channels, and I'm not going to dox them or cancel them or anything like that. They're young up-and-comers, and of course I want to promote them as much as I can. So, but yeah, the other people in that top 5, other than Kyle Kalinske, those top 4 especially, Lee Camp, Jackson, The Gray Zone, Jimmy Dore, go give them a sub right now. They're doing great work. Anyway, keep fighting the good fight out there, guys. I'll talk to you later.